walking, and it's a very cool place. And he is coming to Rio, and also he's coming to Angra, and I have an apartment to rent and also a boat.
Nice.
So
Sweet.
I will rent for him a
Cool.
package in February.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, hopefully that goes well. Nice. And Ken, how's it going?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks. Just kind of hanging out. Mm, yeah, Ken, what are you gonna do today?
Yeah, I realized my Facebook, sometime noticed me the 2 years ago today kind of thing, and realized this is the day I took this picture of Paul McCartney.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so I shared the video of this on my Facebook and Google Plus too. Yeah, probably. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, anyway.
Cool. How was the concert?
Our concert was brilliant because it's almost 3 hours and he sang a lot of Beatles tunes and Wings, and
Nice.
and some songs he never played like Love Letter. Actually, it's a John's tune, but he sang instead of John and something also. It's George's tunes, but and before the song he introduced a small episode. George was very good at ukulele, so at the beginning, he played something with ukulele. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Um, yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Julieta, how's it going with you?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. And what have you been doing recently, besides homework?
I was reading today. Was it?
Okay. What have you been reading?
The book I was reading before about the Miller's magician
Okay.
and their journeyman.
Nice. All right. And are you enjoying it?
Yes, nice.
Okay. I've somehow gotten back into reading Hemingway. I got stuck um like reading one of his books again, and it's funny. He's like really macho. He likes he likes to be like
I
very
noticed that.
macho guy. Yeah, it's funny. I like his impressions about people because he's like got this like really strong sense of what it is to be a man, which I think is kind of funny. Poor guy. Anyways, good. Who else is here? Michael, how's it going?
Hello, hello. Sorry, my
Hello,
maker
hello.
was. Yes, now can you hear me? Yes.
I can't hear you now. What's
Yeah.
up?
Okay. I'm doing well. And you?
Doing really well, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, same old stuff. What have you
Uh,
been up to today?
Today was an easy day because it's Saturday, and in the morning my wife has a Aikido. Do you know what is this art martial? Aikido.
Yeah,
Uh, how to say a session or Aikido?
Aikido. Yeah, like a keto training, maybe?
Yeah, actually, yeah. And I went with my children to see my wife doing Aikido, and then it was a medieval market in my city. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Some shows and some things to buy, and yeah. So an easy day with my family.
nice. Okay. Um, and Santiago, how's it going with you?
Hello, Joshua. Uh, well, I'm back. I took last class. I
Yeah.
was taking your class, your previous class, and now I only have I can only stay here for 30 minutes
No. Why is that?
because I have to do something really important. So
Okay,
I'm
well,
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna cry a little bit. I'll try to cry after class so nobody else knows,
Okay.
but hurts deep inside. Can't believe it.
Sorry,
Um,
sorry, sorry.
Not a problem. Okay, and who else? Amp, how's it going?
Hi, teacher.
Welcome
Everything
back.
is fine. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess, do you have any plans for tomorrow, Sunday?
The usual, go to church and the supermarket.
Okay, church, supermarket. Cool. Hopefully they go well. And we also have Ksenia. Welcome back. How's it going?
Everything is fine.
All right, nice. That's good. Hopefully nothing's changed. What about tomorrow? Do you have any big plans for Sunday?
Yes, usually my big plans, but with one change. It won't be a hamburger, it will be a sushi.
Nice. Sushi sounds delicious. I could go for some sushi. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds good. It's a good exchange, I think. Probably healthier.
Yes.
Okay. And Carolina, how's it going? Carolina? Carolina Garcia, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. There's some background noise. Is it like the television on?
Yeah, let me turn it off. I was watching the news.
Okay. Yeah. Well, how's your day been?
Good. I just got from work. Tired.
Okay. Well, hopefully work was good. There's still a little bit of chatter in the background. I don't know if you can like turn down the volume a little bit more or mute it or whatever. But okay, good. Well, I'm glad work was good. I think that is everyone. Today's story is short, but it's also a little bit difficult. We've also got Hogan. How's it going, Hogan?
Yeah, I'm just fine. And how are you?
I'm doing well. I really like your picture. Hogan, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from originally from South Korea. I'm currently living in United States, Los Angeles.
Good. Okay, in the United States, yeah. All right, nice. Yeah, well, welcome to class. And yeah, how do you like Los Angeles?
Always beautiful weather. Some people don't like it because it's boring, no rains, but I like it.
Okay, nice. And I think we're good. Again, I think that's everybody. So I was saying before, this is a complicated story. It's a little bit tricky, so if you get lost, make sure you ask about it. Ask where we are. If there are any words you don't know, ask. It's relatively short, so we should get through it. But let's go and read. Perfect. And let's have Anna Carolina. Can you start?
Okay. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, James Thurber. We're going through. The commander's voice was like a thin ice breaking. He wore his full dress uniform with the heavily braided white cap pulled down hawkishly over one cold grey eye. "We can't make it, sir. It's spoiling for a hurricane, if you ask me." "I'm not asking you, Lieutenant Berg," said the commander. "Throw on the power lights. Heave her up to 8,500. We're going through." The pounding of cylinders increased. Tap, pocket, tap, pocket, tap, pocket, tap, pocket, tap, pocket, tap. The commander stared at the ice forming on the pilot window. I don't understand his
Okay.
thought.
Let's look at rakishly. Rakishly. Can you repeat rakishly? And then rev.
Rev.
And the pounding of the cylinders.
The pounding of the cylinders.
Okay. Good. So, rakishly. It's like a rake. My computer is not functioning really well today. Just to get you guys a clear definition, a rake. An old-fashioned man. Yeah, hold on. I just want to get a good definition so I don't give you the wrong one. So yeah, generally it's somebody who has, it's like somebody who's very romantically involved. So like a Don Juan would be like a rake. Does that make sense to everybody? Does everybody know what a Don Juan is?
No.
So somebody who sleeps, it's somebody who sleeps with a lot of women would be a rake.
Okay. I don't understand this paragraph, teacher.
Okay, so we're starting in the middle of action. So it's going to make a little bit more sense later, but basically what's happening is that we have a commander, and he's like, we're going to go through. They describe how he's dressed. He's kind of like, he's very romantically dressed. He's a romantic kind of captain. He's a rake. And then another person says, we can't make it. There's going to be a hurricane. He's like, I'm not asking you, Lieutenant Berg. And then so he's like, yeah, just power everything up, and we're going to go through still. And so he's staring at the ice on the window. Braided. So braided is like when you have three things, so three strings that go around each other would be a braid. Yeah, right up to 8,500, 8,500. It's a RPM, rotations per minute. So yeah, it's kind of like the speed of the engine. Again, just high. Does that make sense to everybody? Does everybody understand?
What does rev mean?
Rev is revolutions. So if you're revving your engine, like stepping on the gas with the engine in neutral, so the engine starts spinning really quickly. It's like revolving.
And this pocket is just to express the sound? Or?
Yes, that is the sound that the engine's making. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
I've watched the same title movie, Ben Stiller's movie recently.
Yes, it is the same. This is the short story that it's from. This short story is really old. But yeah, it's kind of about the.
So the movie is based on this story.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's loosely based on the story. And
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
He walked over and twisted a row of complicated dials. Switch on number 8 auxiliary, he shouted. Switch on number 8 auxiliary, repeated Lieutenant Berg. Full strength in B. To red, shouted the commander. Full strength in number 3 to red. The crew bent to their various tasks in the huge Hartley 8-engined Navy hydroplane, looked at each other and grinned. The old man get us through, they said to one another. The old man ain't afraid of hell.
And the next sentence?
Not so fast. You're driving too fast, said Mr. and Mrs. Meade. What are you driving so fast for?
Good. The old man'll get us through.
The old man'll.
Yeah, the old man'll get us through. Can you read the whole thing? The old man'll get us through?
The old man will get us through.
Number 3, turret.
Number 3, turret.
Good. Hurtling is like moving really fast. So yeah, if something is hurtling, it's moving really fast. It's almost unstoppable. Any other turret is like a gun. So a turret gun, it's so something that is a part that's a different type of gun. Grin is just a smile. So a grin is like a big smile. Hopefully that makes sense. Any other questions? Okay, and yeah, let's go through all this. And let's have Ken. Can you read the next part?
Okay. Said Walter Mitty. He looked at his wife, in the seat beside him, with shocked astonishment. She seemed grossly unfamiliar, like a strange woman who had yelled at him in a crowd. "You were up to 55," she said. "You know I don't like to go more than 40. You were up to 55." Walter Mitty drove on toward Waterbury in silence. The roaring of the SN-202 through the worst storm in 20 years of Navy flying fading into the remote, intimate airways of his mind. "You are tensed up again," said Mrs. Mitty. "It's one of your days. I wish you'd let Dr. Renshaw look you over."
Yeah, really nicely done. He drove on toward Waterbury.
Drove on toward Waterbury.
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 Yeah. The roaring of the SN-202 through the worst storm in 20 years of Navy flying in the remote, intimate airways of your mind. So like fading, it's like going away. So this thing that he's imagining is kind of getting smaller and smaller and smaller into nothingness. So basically what we have are these like dual things. So we have a man who is imagining his life being more interesting than it is. So in real life we have Mrs. Mitty who says he's driving too fast, and he has himself imagining he's the captain and he's flying a large Navy plane through a bad storm. Does that make sense to everybody?
I have a question about when you say you were up to 55, what does it mean?
55 miles an hour. So you were driving at 55 miles an hour. You know I don't like to go more than 40 miles per hour. So that's the speed of the car.
Yeah, I'm just confused. The first paragraph is about plane, but it's just jump into the car. It's two separate story?
It's one, the first part is in his mind. So this is what he's imagining.
Okay.
This is what he's imagining, and this is what is actually happening. So his wife is yelling at him for driving too fast. He's driving fast because in his imagination he's flying.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, they're actually in a car. He's with his wife, and they're driving toward Waterbury. And this, again, this thing he's imagining is fading in his mind because she's talking. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Okay. And let's have Santiago. Can you read the next part?
Okay. Walter Mitty stopped the car in front of the building where his wife went to have her hair done. "Remember to get those overshoes while I'm having my hair done," she said. "I don't need overshoes," said Mitty. She put her mirror back into her bag. We've been all through that, she said, getting out of the car. You are not a young man any longer. He raised the engine a little. Why don't you wear your gloves? Have you lost your gloves? Walter Mitty reached in a pocket and brought out the gloves.
Engine.
Engine.
Race the engine a little. Yeah.
Engine.
So if you're racing the engine, it's kind of like revving the engine. So the car's vroom, vroom would be racing your engine.
Okay.
So it's what you do, before a race, really, or what you see in all the movies. Any other questions?
And
Go ahead. Sorry.
thank you. Overshoes are just simple overshoes or something different?
Yeah, it's a shoe that you put over your shoe. They're not in fashion anymore. But yeah, back when this was written, an overshoe is just like a thing you put over your shoes.
When it's rainy, pedals?
Yeah, when it's rainy, snowy, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, to have the hair done. The first sentence, the first, yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting your hair done, you're cutting your hair, or so it's like cutting your hair, getting it fixed up, getting it changed. Would be having your hair done. Make sense?
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Other questions? Okay. And let's go here. And Michael, can you read through these 2 paragraphs?
He put them on, but after she had turned and gone into the building, and he had driven onto a red light, he took them off again. Pick it up, brother. Snap a cup as the light shined. And Mitty hastily pulled on his gloves and lurched ahead. He drove around the streets aimlessly for a time, and then he drove past the hospital on his way to the parking lot.
Okay, and then just to be clear, here we have another change, so it's back into his imagination. And can you keep reading?
It's the millionaire banker, Wellington Macmillan, said the pretty nurse. Yes, said Walter Mitty, removing his gloves slowly. Who has the case?
Good. Okay, let's look at he had driven.
Driven.
And snapped a cop.
Sorry, snapped.
And Mitty hastily.
Hastily.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thanks.
So if you're snapping, you're making your voice harsh. So you snap your voice. Pick up, brother. So it's like if you're angry, you'd snap. Hastily is like in a rush or in a hurry. So if you do something in a hurry. Any other questions? Okay. And Ksenia, can you read the next part? Sorry.
Dr. Renshaw and Dr. Benbow, but there are 2 specialists here, Dr. Remington from New York and Dr. Richard Mitford from London. He flew over. A door opened down a long, cool corridor, and Dr. Renshaw came out. He looked distraught and haggard. "Hello, Mitty," he said. "We're having the devil's own time with Macmillan, the millionaire banker and close personal friend of Roosevelt." Oh my God. Obstruces of the ductal tract, tertiary Wish you take a look at him. Glad to, said Mitty.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure about obstruosis of the ductal tract. Tertiary. Can you repeat tertiary?
Tertiary?
Yeah, tertiary.
Tertiary.
And haggard.
Haggard.
Yeah, haggard is really tired. Yeah, so haggard is really tired. Obstruosis. It's a medical condition. Obstruosis of the ductal tract. Apparently, it's made up. So obstruosis of the ductal tract is made up. Apparently, it's only in this. So, Anna Carolina, you don't have to worry about that ever again because it's not a real thing. Good. And any other questions? Okay. Nice. And distraught is like really sad or really emotionally kind of involved or nervous or something like that. Would be distraught. And good. Hopefully there are no other questions. Let's go and have Hogan. Can you read the next part?
Sure. It's starting from Dr. Remington.
In the operating room.
In the operating room, okay. In the operating room, there were whispered introductions. Dr. Remington, Dr. Mitty, Dr. Pritchard Mitford, Dr. Mitty. I have read your book on staphylococcus, said Pritchard Mitford, shaking hands. A brilliant performance, sir. Thank you, said Walter Mitty. Didn't know you were in the States, Mitty, grumbled Remington. Calls to Newcastle, bringing Mitford and me up here for a tertiary. You are very kind, said Mitty. A huge, complicated machine connected to the operating table with many tubes and wires began at this moment to go pocketa.
Good. Grumbled, if you're grumbling, it's like you're kind of mumbling. You're not very, didn't know you're in the States, ready. So it's like, it has a sense of having a deep voice, of not being really especially happy. So if you grumble something, yeah, you're not especially happy. You have a deep voice about it. Yeah, generally it's got a sense of complaining. In this case, he's not complaining. It just means that he has a deep voice. Hopefully that makes sense. Streptothricosis, again, not a real medical term, but yeah, just in his imagination. So these two doctors they know him, or they know of him. Good. Any other questions?
Yes, I'm not sure about tertiary.
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 A tertiary would be like a third degree, so like something of the third degree. So it just, again, I mean, tertiary is a legitimate term in this case, unlike the others, but, you know, we're not sure what kind of tertiary it is. It means to the third degree, usually it's more intense.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
in this case, it's like an
usually
something.
Used in math, yes?
It's usually used in what?
In math? Mathematics, something like that. Algebra.
Yeah. You can use it in mathematics, but like it could be like your tertiary education. Yeah, it could be like geography or geology, or the tertiary is a time period. But it's also could be medical, could be math. I don't really know. I don't know how you'd use it in math. I'm not the best at math, so
okay.
I'm not the best person to ask. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Any other questions?
But now, with this word tertiary, they are speaking about the level of the gravity
Patient.
of the
Yeah.
of the illness, or
Yeah, the gravity of whatever it is. So
Okay.
it's obstruosis of the ductal tract, and it's tertiary. We don't really know what it is. Tertiary just means it's more intense. It's like bad.
Okay. Okay.
Good. And so again, with medical terms, try not to worry about them too much with this story because it doesn't really matter. But yeah, good. Let's have Julieta. Can you read the next part?
The new anesthetizer is giving way, shouted an intern. There is no one in the East who knows how to fix it. Quiet, man, said Mitty in a low, cool voice. He sprang to the machine, which was now going pocket-a, whip, pocket-a, whip. He began fingering delicately a row of glistening dials. "Give me a fountain pen," he snapped. Someone handed him a fountain pen. He pulled a faulty piston out of the machine and inserted the pen in its place. "That will hold for 10 minutes," he said. "Get on with the operation." Okay.
Good. Questions here. Really nice job, anesthetizer. Something that like gives you anesthetics that makes you like puts you to sleep maybe. Whatever it is, it's like a complicated machine in this imaginary place. Yeah, spring. So if you spring to the machine, it's like you're jumping to it. If you spring to it, you're jumping to it. Yeah, so sprang is just the past tense of spring. Spring sprang. Any other questions? Okay. Also, Julia did a really nice job with the pocket of queep. And Michael, was that you? Did you have a question?
Yeah. Yes. An intern is somebody who is studying to be a doctor, or?
Yeah. So it's somebody who's studying to be a doctor. Somebody, yeah, an intern.
Okay.
Kind of like a student. He is definitely the best in his dream. Okay, and let's have Carolina. Can you read the next part? Carolina?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. A nurse from there?
Yep.
A nurse hurried over and whispered to Rachel and Mitty. Mitty saw the man turn pale. "Choreopsis has set in," said Rachel nervously. "If you will take over, Mitty." Mitty looked at the craven figure of Benbow who drank and the grave, uncertain faces of the two great specialists. "If you wish," he said. They split a white gown on him. He adjusted a mask and drew on thin gloves. Nurse handed his chin. I don't know.
Okay, and
Bucket and Mac, look out for that buoy. Walter Mitty jumped on the bracket.
okay, let's look at brakes. On the brakes.
On the brakes.
Look out for that Buick.
Billy.
Buick.
Buick. What is that?
It's a type of car. A Buick.
Oh, okay.
Like a Mercedes or a Volkswagen or whatever.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Shining.
Shining.
Yeah. And I think jammed. Jammed is like you slam on the brakes, you press really hard, so you jam. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. So he's pressing really hard on the brakes. Any other questions here? Stuck.
The first pale is white, turning white, or?
Yeah, so you lose the blood in your face. So whatever the nurse says to this other doctor, Renshaw, makes him turn pale. And so choreopsis, which again I believe is a medical term, The guy says he's really nervous, and he asks Smitty to take over the surgery of the millionaire Benbow.
What does
And
Craven mean?
Craven.
Craven.
Yeah, can you repeat? Yeah, Craven. Craven, just to get you a good definition. Hold on one second. That's a really good question. So like cowardly. I would say he's like cowardly because he's like thin and weak in this case. Yeah. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And any other questions? Okay. And if there are no other questions, so we're going back into real life here with the back it up, Mac. So let's have, where are we? Anna Carolina, can you read the next bit?
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
There is a music coming from somewhere else. Microphone.
Yeah, thanks.
Wrong lane, Mackie, said the parking lot attendant, looking at Mitch closely. E, muttered Mitch. G.
Yeah, G.
Yeah. G. Yeah?
Keep going.
Muttered Mitch. He began cautiously to back out of the lane market exit only. Leave her sit there, said the attendant. I will put her away. Mitch got out of the car. Hey, better leave the key. Oh, said Mitch, handing the man the ignition key. The attendant vaulted into the car, packed it up with insolent skill, and put it where it belonged. They're so damn cocky, thought Walter Mitty. Walking along Main Street, they think they know everything.
Nice. Really nice job with vaulted into the car, backed it up with insolent skill, and put it where it belonged. That's a hard sentence. Questions?
Vaulted? Damn cocky.
Cocky is like self-assured or overconfident. Yeah. So self-assured or overconfident would be cocky. And yeah, so the attendant vaulted into the car. He like jumped into the car. If you think about the pole vault, you've got a person who has a long stick that they like run and then like launch themselves into the air with over something else. Hopefully that makes sense. It's like the worst pole vaulting person ever. But yeah, just jumping into the car.
Muttered?
Mutter is like to, yeah, gee, yeah. So it's like you say something almost really low, really quietly, and not clearly. It's kind of like grumbled, but more like just quieter. So if you're muttering something, it's like you're just kind of talking really slowly and like low and like, yeah, okay. Does that make sense? That would be muttering.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. And can you read the next part?
Once he had tried to take his chain off outside New Milford, and he had got them wound around the axles. A man had to come out in a wrecking car and unwind them, a young, grinning garage man. Since then, Mrs. Mitty always made him drive to a garage to have the chains taken off. The next time, he thought, I'll wear my right arm in a sling. They won't grin at me then. I'll have my right arm in a sling, and they'll see I couldn't possibly take the chains off myself. He kicked up the slush on the sidewalk. overshoes, he said to himself, and he began looking for a shoe store.
Nice. Unwind.
Unwind.
Okay, and so chains, you put chains on your tires when it snows out. Yeah. And so one time when he was trying to take off the chains, he got them wound around the axle, and somebody had to come and help him, and he was kind of embarrassed. And he's like, next time I'll put my right arm in a sling, and they won't grin at me then. You know, he doesn't want to be made fun of. Any questions here?
Yes. Unwind, slinky, and slush.
Okay, a sling is something that you put in your arm in if it's injured, so it doesn't hang low. A sling keeps it up by your chest. So if you break your arm, you'll put your arm in a sling, which will keep it to your chest. Slush is like watery snow. Yeah, a sling you can also use to hold a baby. Just like a device that holds something up. Slush is watery snow. It's like melting snow, could be like slushy. What was the other one?
Unwind.
Unwind is like to take off. If something is wound around something, you unwind it to get it out. So something that's like really tightly circled is wound up, and then if you loosen it up, you're like unwinding it. So you're taking it apart. Does that make sense? Okay. And we're good. Let's go. Okay. Actually, this is good. Can you read this next paragraph? Adela.
Okay. Do you hear? Yes.
Sorry. There you go.
When he came out into the street again, with the overshoes in a box under his arm, Walter Mitty began to wonder what the other thing was his wife had told him to get. She had told him twice before they set out from the house for Waterbury. In a way, he hated these weekly trips to town. He was always getting something wrong. Kleenex, he thought, skiffs, razor blades, no, toothpaste, toothbrush, bicarbonate, carborundum, initiative and referendum. He gave it up, but she would remember it. Where is the what's his name? She would ask.
Okay. Where's the what's its name? She would ask. Can you repeat that one more time?
What was its name? She would ask.
Okay. Yeah, and so questions here. I mean, Kleenex are tissues. I have no idea what Squibs is. It's like a brand of something. Razor blades, toothpaste, toothbrush, bicarbonate. So whatever that is. Bicarbonate's like baking powder. And I don't know what carborundum is. Initiative and referendum. I think he's just talking about random things. Like a referendum is a vote. Yeah, so he's just listing off things. Go ahead.
It's a lot of words, but sometimes the end don't have a relation with the other.
Yeah.
Initiative with a referendum.
Yeah, he's just saying things kind of. And he gave it up. He stopped thinking about it. Any other questions here? Okay. And let's have Ksenia, can you read the next part?
Perhaps this will refresh your memory. The district. Don't tell me you forgot the bird's name. and Yulesbury went shouting something about the Waterbury trial. Perhaps this will refresh your memory. The district attorney suddenly thrust the heavy automatic at the quiet figure on the witness stand. Have you ever seen this before? Walter Mitty looked at the gun and examined it expertly. This is my Wibbly Vickers 5080, he said calmly. And excited, Bath ran around the courtroom. The judge rapped for order. "You are a crack shot with any sort of firearms, I believe?" said the district attorney insinuatingly. Oh my God.
That's a tough one. Insinuatingly.
Insinuatingly.
Good. Insinuatingly. And expertly.
Expertly.
Good. And so he's thinking about his wife yelling at him for forgetting the what's-its-name, and then he hears a newspaper boy shouting about a trial, and then his imagination goes into this trial where, you know, he's thrust an automatic gun, where, you know, it's an automatic gun, and questions here. Okay. A crack shot is just somebody who's really good at shooting, so he's imagining, again, he's in the office and being questioned. And let's have Julieta, can you read the next part?
"Objection!" shouted Mitty's attorney. "We have shown that the defendant could not have fired the shot. We have shown that he wore his right arm in a slit on the night of the 14th of July." Walter Mitty raised his hand briefly, and the bickering attorneys were stilled. "With any known make of gun," he said evenly, "I could have killed Gregory Fitchurst at 300 feet with my left hand." Pandemonium broke loose in the courtroom. A woman's scream rose above the bedlam, and suddenly a lovely dark-haired girl was in Walter Mitty's arm. Okay.
Good. Questions here? Bickering is fighting. The bedlam is just like the noise and fighting and everything else. So like the craziness almost. It's not used ever. But yeah, bickering is just fighting. Hopefully that makes sense. And
Bedlam.
Yeah, bedlam is like the noise, like the fighting noise, the sounds, the shouts, the squeals, whatever, like the chaotic noise. Yeah, and let's have Ana Carolina, can you read? Let's move on to this next part. Yeah, can you start reading with the district attorney?
The district attorney struck at her savagely, without rising from his chair. Mitch let the man have each on the point of his chin. "You miserable cur!" "Puppy biscuit," said Walter Mitty. He stopped walking, and the buildings of Waterbury rose up out of the misty courtroom and surrounded him again. A woman who was passing laughed. He said, "Puppy biscuit," she said to her companion. "That man," said Puppy biscuit to himself. Walter Mitty hurried on. He went into an A&P, not the first one he came to, but a smaller one, Father up the street.
Okay, puppy biscuit. Puppy biscuit.
Puppy biscuit.
Yeah, if he let him have it on the point of the chin, he punched him on the chin. Yeah. And a cur is like a stray dog, somebody who's not educated. Yeah, it's like a mongrel or a contemptible man would be a cur. Yeah, just calling him like a dog. It's old-fashioned. Other questions? Okay, so he's again imagining himself in the trial, and then he realizes that he needs to buy puppy biscuit. It was the other thing that his wife had wanted, and a woman laughs at him, just like he said puppy biscuit to himself. Silly. Anyways, that's what's happening. Any questions here? Okay, and let's have Amp, can you read the next part?
I want some biscuits for small young dogs, he said to the clerk. Any special brand, sir? The greatest pistol shot in the world thought a moment. It says, puppies bark for it on the box, said Walter Mitty. His wife would be through at the hairdresser's in 15 minutes. Mitty saw him looking at his watch. Unless they had trouble drying it, sometimes they had trouble drying it. She didn't like to get to the hotel first. She would want him to be there waiting for her as usual.
Yeah, his wife would be through at the hairdresser's.
His wife would be through at the hairdresser's.
Yeah, and then unless they had. Perfect. Questions here? Okay, and Adela, can you read the next part? Ooh, yeah, the next part.
It's for me, sorry?
Yeah, Adela.
Ah, sorry. He found a big leather chair in the lobby, facing a window, and he put the overshoes and the puppy biscuit on the floor beside it. He picked up an old copy of Liberty,
Of Liberty.
Liberty, and sank down into the chair. Can Germany conquer the world through the air? Walter Mitty looked at the picture of bombing planes and of ruined streets.
And the next whisper?
The cannonading has got the wind up in young Raleigh, sir, said the sergeant. Captain Mitty looked up at him through tousled hair. Get him to bed, he said wearily.
Tousled.
Tousled.
Tousled. And then sergeant.
Sergeant.
Huh? Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Sergeant. And ruined?
Ruined.
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 And bombing?
Bombing.
Good. And bombing. Biscuit?
Okay. Biscuit.
Yeah, good. The cannonading has got the wind up. So, no. Yeah, the cannonading is just like the bombing here.
It's a plane, no? Or no?
Yeah, the plane's bombing.
Yes.
And then his tousled hair, it's like wind blown, not really organized hair. So if you tousle out some of his hair, it's just like messed up a bit. Hopefully that makes sense. And let's have Hogan, can you read the next part?
Sure. With the others, I will fly alone. But you can't, sir, said the sergeant anxiously. It takes 2 men to handle that bomber, and the Archies are pounding hell out of the air. Von Richmond's circus is between here and Solier. Somebody's got to get that ammunition dump, said Mitty. I'm going over. Spot of brandy? He poured a drink for the sergeant and one for himself. War thundered and wind around the dugout and battered at the door. There was a rending of wood, and splinters flew through the room.
Okay, good. The Archies.
Archies?
The Arch powers, like the Axis powers. And yeah, so it's the Second World War. Wind.
Wind, not wind. Wind.
Yeah, wind. And okay, good. We're close. Yeah. We're probably not gonna get to finish, which is unfortunate. Let's have Julieta. Can you read the next part?
A bit of a near thing, said Captain Mitty carelessly. The box barrage is closing in, said the sergeant. We only live once, Sergeant, said Mitty with his faint, fleeting smile. Or do we? He poured another brandy and tossed it off. I never see a man could hold his brandy like you, sir, said the sergeant. Begging your pardon, sir. Captain Mitty stood up and strapped on his huge Wembley Vickers automatic. It is 40 kilometers through hell, sir, said the sergeant.
Yeah, okay, good. With his faint, fleeting smile.
Faint, fleeting smile.
Good. Okay, and so I guess at the end we've got him finishing his brandy. They're flying through the war, doing something remarkable together, whatever in this war, and then something strikes him on the shoulder. His wife has been looking all over the hotel. It's like she yells at him for hiding in the chair. How do you expect me to find you? And so he's talking, they have a little exchange, and she asks him if he got the stuff, like the overshoes, the puppy biscuit. And she's like, couldn't you have put them on the store? And he's like, I was thinking. Yeah, she thinks he's sick. He's just thinking. Then they left. Yeah, they go back to the car. And then he's smoking in the rain. Yeah. Yeah. So just like ends kind of imagining whatever, and he's undefeated. So hopefully that makes sense. So you didn't miss too much. If you want to read it on your own, it's the what is it? Oh gosh. The Hidden Life of Walter Mitty. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, if you guys want to read it. But thanks for coming into class. It was a bit of a tough story, I know. Hopefully you enjoyed it somewhat, and kind of an interesting one. And yeah, thanks for coming in.
Teacher, take care. See ya.
Bye guys.
Bye, guys.